you got to love what you do. That life is short. Figure out what you love and do it. And then it's not a job. Like, you're just going to put your time, effort, and energy into it because you love it, right? And I've always been lucky enough to find something that I love to do. And that it's not a job.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin, and
I'm Shane.
And today we got my man, Roy Kirchner here. What's up, Roy?
What's going on, brother, man? I am super excited to be on. So my name is Roy Kershner. I live in Tampa Bay, Florida. Been here since high school and literally a serial entrepreneur. And I say that because I've failed so many times that I know if I lost everything tomorrow, I could get it all back. So that, I think, is the word for a serial entrepreneur is literally that. But I'm so excited to be on here with you guys. It's going to be a great episode.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the first question, maybe. Why don't we just start there? What would you do today if you lost it all tomorrow? Or wait, no, sorry. What would you do today if you lost it all yesterday?
I think, I started my career in the car business selling cars. And I realized at one point in time in my life that you could put me on a plane and you could drop me off anywhere in the United States and I could walk into any car dealership and I could make a living selling cars. So I think that would probably be one of the quickest ways back to, if I had nothing, right? And I had to start by at least getting a place to live and a vehicle. I no matter what, I think I could walk on a dealership and my first day I could sell a car. So I think that would be my easiest way back. Not my longest, not what I would want to do long term, but definitely to get from one point to the other.
I like that. I've always heard that if you learn sales, that's all you really need to succeed at this world. I mean, obviously you got to be better at some other stuff, but learning sales is really the crux of it. What would you say was one of the maybe most interesting sales or the hardest sales you've ever made in your life?
I think one of the things is realizing how to sell, right? And realizing that you're not selling, right? You're creating a relationship with somebody, and you're creating a relationship so well that if you actually are not selling them something, it's okay because you connect with that person so well that they know what you do. And then once they know what you do and you connect with that person, they'll send their sister, aunt, uncle, brother, cousin, friend to literally buy whatever you have, right? Because it's that connection. So I think it's a matter of slowing down a little bit and not necessarily selling. It's connecting with somebody and being real to the point where they see who you are and then they will guide people to you.
I could tell already that your personality, you draw people in, that you're a people person. I quoted this a couple of podcasts ago as well, but I want to give it another shout out because of what you brought up. Shout out to Giftology because it talks about the fear of losing it all. And then more importantly, having the fear is actually playing it out, journalizing it on paper. And the fact that you already have your worst case scenario, like your worst case scenario, you lost every single thing. You already know that it's not going to be that bad because you have your worst case scenario played out. That's like the hardest step to actually get there, to mentally overcome, because now you know it could never be as bad as this because I will now have it figured out from right here, which is awesome. So bring it back to entrepreneurship. What are you working on right now?
So what I'm working on right now that is super exciting is a collaboration of putting a lot of things together. So I have one of the things that I have is a 3D printing company where we sell the technology and we do printing services. And I've had that for 10 years. Before I had that company, I specialized in marketing and advertising. And I've just found my way back to not necessarily marketing and advertising, but the new way of marketing and advertising in the new way of what I believe businesses truly need right now. And I think what they truly need right now is they definitely need to grow their business. So that's always marketing, advertising, but then a creative scenario also in there. So how do we differentiate them from any of their competitors and dominate their market area, right? And then on top of that, adding in something super unique, and that is the ability to see where they're at now and start implementing AI strategies within their business. And a lot of that is their people, right? The human people, right? Nobody at all right now is going into a business and saying, hey, I can lift your people up and explain artificial intelligence in programs and different things like that. So I want to create this brand new, and I'm working on it right now, and this brand new agency, right? And it's an intelligence agency for marketing, for advertising, for creativeness, but also brings the element of truly training an organization from the top down or from the bottom up, right? And some of it may be from the bottom up because the CEO is so busy. It's like, let's get everybody in the organization skilled on AI, right? On different levels of AI and how it can integrate into their organization to help them save time and money. And some of that's a hard discussion, right? Because you really have to talk to upper management and you have to say to them, are you wanting to develop everybody within the organization that you have now? Is that where you're at? And then we would develop all of them? Or is there some issues within the organization, like we're having some budget issues and we need to actually cut some staff, right? And we need to be able to lift up some of our people, but some of them we actually need to cut due to economic problems that we're having. So that could be a different conversation, but it's a conversation that you absolutely need to have. And it's a conversation that a lot of business owners aren't having right now. And then the number one thing that drives any business, right, is people knowing the business, right? The marketing, the advertising, the sales team, right? Getting out there, brand awareness, who they are, separating them from their competitors and dominating a market area. So that is what I'm working on right now, that I'm just truly, truly excited to bring to market and be different in that aspect. And I think it's something that can guide us into the next generation. I think this is something that I'm truly excited to build, that I know is going to make a big impact and a difference. And I don't really see a lot of people getting into at this moment. So it's separating me from other organizations as well, because, you know, you could be a marketing and advertising agency, but and say, hey, we're starting to embed and use AI to help our clients. But I'm coming right out of the bat saying, this is what my organization does. Like, we're forming this organization right now in this time of, you know, this year, because we know that this is going to be the future.
You know, I don't know if you were ever into wrestling, but back into, I ran a marketing agency as well for 6 years. And this was back when everybody and their mother was doing marketing agency, like SEO and social ads, like over a decade ago. But you remind me of your voice, reminds me of Ryback Reeves. I don't know if you know who that is, but he always goes, feed me more. Just an absolute unit, amazing person. He was a great client for a few years too, but you remind me of two. All right, now back to this. I love your multifaceted approach. I don't know whether I want to dive into the actual training modular that you're planning on building, which is great because LMSs are going to be huge, especially for enterprises and corporations. The big key crucial thing that you have to figure out is, because a lot of these AI tools like Notebook LM, Notion AI, Canva AI, they already have accredited courses and they already have certifications to just use and teach their platforms. So I think a good way of going is to become an agency partner there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel and essentially just use it there. Because at the end of the day, they're training on one. What I'm imagining is you're training enterprises and corporations, their people, on how to use AI tools to become more efficient and to become more intuitive to enhance their already business model. And you're upgrading them to, the current century, which is a brilliant model. Advertising is a trickier one. And I'm curious on what you have to think about, because this is why I got out of marketing and advertising. It's great. Marketing and advertising is great. It's great to see revenue. We got our business up to, I think, 50,000 a month for our biggest one. But the hardest part is we were constantly chasing new clients. And if I grabbed a blue collar, let's use plumbing agency over here, a plumbing client across town, 25, 50 miles away, the same type of campaign wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. The landing page wouldn't work. The ad copy wouldn't work. And I'm like, what the heck? And it's just mind boggling to me. Now, it's been 6-7 years since I've run any sort of ad campaigns for any type of clients. What are you going to transition? What are you going to evolve, either with utilizing AI, or how are we going to essentially get rid of this big dilemma?
Yeah. So let me answer the first question. The first question is, you're absolutely right. The most important thing that you do in working with any company is what I call a CNA. And that can be a client needs analysis or a customer needs analysis. I really want to understand their company. I don't want to ever try to sell them anything. And I'm talking, I don't want to sell them anything for quite some time. It may be even like 2 weeks to a month, right? And you're like, what? Like, I'm not coming in there as a salesperson. The first thing I need to do is gather information from them. Like, I need to understand their business inside and out, up and down, left and right. And then at that point in time, I'm going to take that information that they provide me, and that information is gathered through a CNA. That's not 30 minutes or an hour. It's a very long time. And that's a commitment on their part, and that's a commitment on my part, right? I'm going to gather this information. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my team, and we're going to do a ton of research as well. So not just the information they gave us, we're going to make sure that the information they gave us is, we don't want it just to be what they think it is. We want to know, like, is this really their competitors? Is this really their market area? Are they really up against these things for their short-term goals, their long-term goals? So I want to grab a ton of data, which AI makes it a little bit easier now, but it's still gathering an enormous amount of data, right? So at that point in time, once I have the data from the organization and the data that we gather, then we start creating a plan to make that happen, right? And at that point in time, after we've created this entire plan, then we go to them and we present the plan to them. And that is when there has to be a buy-in. They say, wow, this is really, you've took all this time, effort, consideration, you've done all this research, and this is the plan. And then we have to get them to buy in the plan. And at that point in time, then that's when you would start your first round of implementation. But it's a plan to truly get, it's a partnership, right? It's a plan to get short-term goals, long-term goals, visions, all these things that they have. And in one thing that we know in this world, right, is plans do change. So it's the start of a plan, right? Because we can't expect to know everything. We can't expect to know what the president's going to do tomorrow. And I definitely think we can't expect that, right? Because there's multiple changes here. So that's the beginning of a plan, but it's a true partnership. So that's that side of it, right? And then the second side is using the technology of tomorrow, today, to separate yourself from all of your competitors in a marketplace, right? So there's one thing that we've realized, and you kind of touched on it just a little bit about gifts and different things like that. How do we separate ourselves as a business, and especially a small business, a medium, a large business? How do we separate ourselves from our competitors, right? How do we do that? And a lot of that is through understanding who you're up against, right? But then creating, I think it for me, it doesn't, and I'm saying this, Shane, in the nicest way, it doesn't make a difference if it's the guy 50 miles down the street or this guy. The strategies in which I would implement are strategies that separate you from your competitors, right? And these are strategies that have come up with over a quite some time. And I'll just explain one of them. Shane, if me and you tomorrow, right? If me and you tomorrow went and we heard this guy speak up on stage. So let's say tomorrow is Friday and we're hearing a guy from Forbes magazine. We're hearing him speak on stage tomorrow at 8:30 at night, right? And me and you are both really excited to hear about this guy speaking. So we go there and we hear John speak up on stage from Forbes magazine, but he starts his speech out by saying these things. He said, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without Gary. And Gary is sitting in the front row and he points him out. And Gary kind of waves his hand up, right? And he just said, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without Gary, right? So then he speaks. Now, you're in my head, Shane, the first thing that we're thinking is that guy up on stage is super successful, like really successful, but he wouldn't be where he's at right now without Gary, right? So our plan of attack, I just hit you and I'm like, let's go meet Gary, right? Let's go get there. But we're not the only ones. This place is packed. We're going to go and we're going to say hello to Gary. And we're only going to get very little bit of time with him, right? Because there's tons of people trying to get to know Gary. But we exchange business cards. So he takes my business card and I take his, and basically said, let's connect. What would be, Shane, if I could ask you, what would be your next move to set up a time with Gary?
See, this is difficult because I've talked with Chris Voss and I know the big strategies here. And I've also listened to an amazing audiobook called Giftology, where they talk about understanding the guy's shirts, doing a bunch of research on it, sending him his favorite shirts that he goes, doing an entire social media scrape, finding out if he's a Green Bay Packers fan, if he just had a son. So I would have my team do rigorous research on this person, and I'd find out if he was a Green Bay Packers fan and he just had a son 2 months ago. I would send him a custom jersey for his son, congratulating him, and then just saying, when
would you send that? Like, what would be your next point of contact with him? When would it be? How long would it be?
I wouldn't reach out. I would do this research on him. I would send him the gift based on his business address that I got, which would eventually get to him, whether it's forwarded or not. I would have my information on there and saying it was a true pleasure. When you put the ball into their court, especially with a gift that was like a surprise element, it's almost like an IOU. It's like, it's unexpected. It's amazing. So I've tried these tactics with people who are out of my league, and it works tremendously. So that's what I would do. I would not text him. I would not call him. I wouldn't email him. I would do rigorous research. I would send him a customized gift to his business, and I'd wait for him to come back to me. And I'd make sure it'd be a gift that he would want.
Awesome. So let me tell you what I would actually do, right? I would take his business card and I would give him my business card, which is a unique business card, but it separates myself from other people. So this is mine. I would give him my business card and I would exchange, right? And most people, what they would say is, I'm going to reach out to him. So like, I see his cell phone number. I may text him. I may connect with him on LinkedIn. There's actually several different ways. So we could call him, right? We could text him. We could email him. We could send him a letter in the mail. We could show up at his, if it's on his card, we could show up at his place. All these things, right? But I'm not doing any of those. This is what I'm doing. I'm leaving that night. I just got a chance to meet him. I got his business card. He's got mine. And I'm leaving the place. And if you were with me, I'd say, excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to go to a well-lit area. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cell phone and I'm going to say, John, I'm going to say Gary, because his name was Gary, but John was up on stage. Gary, Roy Kershner, I just met you inside. Here's your business card. I just met you inside. John was up on stage, Gary, and he said he wouldn't be where he's at today without you. he wouldn't be where he's at without you. So I just need to let you know that we got to go to breakfast or lunch next week. And if I don't hear back from you, I'm going to hit you land, sea, and air. It's going to be like a military attack. I'm going to call, I'm going to text, I'm going to email you. Because if that guy on stage is as successful as he is, and it was because of you, I've got to go to breakfast or lunch with you. Now I'm going to upload that video into software that immediately creates a link that I text and email him right then and there. So I'm going to text him a link that shows me as a video, and I'm going to email to him that night. He's still inside. Probably other people are trying to connect with him, right? And then he leaves the event, and he has this video text. And as soon as he hits it, it sends me a alert that he actually is watching it. It actually tells me how long he's watching it. If he watches the entire thing, it will actually track so much that if he forwards it to the guy up on stage, his friend, to show him, it will show me that he forwarded it. But long story short, he watches that video. The next morning, this is what happened. The next morning, he watched the video again, and then he called me. And he said, Roy, like, I'll go to breakfast or lunch. I've never received a video, much less like this. And dude, let's set up an appointment to go. And that was, again, separating yourself from the pack using a video, right? Most people would send a text. Most people would do this. I sent a video, but it also showed me if he watched it, right? Now, let's say he didn't react and call me. I can send him another video saying, hey, I'm just sending you this other video. I just want to let you know, man, I'm going to be sending you 30-second videos every single day, just telling you about who I am and why I want to connect with you. But I'm going to let you learn from me, right? I'm going to let you learn who I am, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Just like that guy up on stage is not where he's at. I got where I'm at from mentors, and I still just want to meet you. So I'm just going to keep on sending you videos every day. I can see if he's watching them, and then eventually he's going to call me, and he does. So these are just tactics that I it's all about being different, right? But it's all about tell me the last time, Shane, that you truly got a video from meeting somebody. And I'm talking like right afterwards, saying a reaction.
None. No, I get pictures sometimes, but I'd say never a video. I think the key element here, though, is you, right? When you're a good salesman, when you have the hustler mentality, you know it's in the follow-up game. And that's how it is. So I think that's what it is. That's the only difference between, you and 100 other sales reps is the follow-up, the dedication, especially if it's somebody that you want to talk to. I thought the way you were saying the video messages were strong, were confident, that you were going to continue following up. It made me, even in that situation, be like, I want to respond, whether it's even negative or positive. You're still getting me to respond. And that's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's what I do. So that's like coaching, consulting.
Yeah.
That's what I do, is I help people connect, right? And I help organizations connect with their, especially people that is their client now, right? Not prospective client, but their client now. If they can connect, the most important thing is retention, right? But then also, if you're spending money to get a lead, how do you connect with that lead differently and make sure it turns into something? So that's what I do. And you're right. Like, I am different. I'm not gonna deny that I'm different, but anybody is capable of being taught anything. Like, there's no natural born salesperson. That's the first thing I learned in the car business. Like, the first dealership I went to work at, I was there for 2 months. I worked from the second I got into the dealership to the second I left, which is typically people buy cars nights and weekends. So I was working like 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. And in 2 months, I sold one car, right? This was just a sleepy store, wasn't the right place to be, but I didn't give up, right? And I knew, because of my past, right? Like, I had a single parent mom. We came from nothing. I knew that the car business would be a place that I could be successful, right? And then I ended up switching dealerships and going and becoming successful, and that's a longer story. But I think it is that people need to realize that you can be anything you want in this world at any point in time. Like where you're at now, there's no baseline, right? You can, if you decide tomorrow, right, to wake up and you want to be different, you can do that. And one of the things I hate about people is they're like, well, like, I'm going to do it for a New Year resolution. And then the New Year resolution comes around, right? And they start it and then they quit a week later. And what I tell them is a new year is tomorrow. A new week is tomorrow. A new day is tomorrow. Like, it doesn't matter. If you quit, just restart again, right? Like, don't worry about, like, that doesn't matter. What people in this world need to realize is don't worry about anybody else, right? Like, the thing that I figured out, and I wish so many people would figure out, is I don't care, and I'm not being condescending or anything. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care, right? And the reason why I don't care is because I only answer to one person, and he's right up there, right? And I live my life with integrity, moral values, honor, and respect. Those 4 things. I live my life with those 4 things. I know I'm a good person, right? So I'm not going to please everybody. But if I know I live my life with these things, and when people meet me, right, if they don't like me, they don't like me, right? But I don't care. And that's what I want people to understand is being different. We all have different fingerprints, right? The motto is to get to wherever you want to be and don't worry about what anybody else thinks of you. And that's the truth, right? Because we're all sitting here and we're all entrepreneurs, you, me, all of us are entrepreneurs. And the only way we got to where we're at today is one thing. It's not in our vocabulary to quit. We just don't quit, right? That's 100% what it is. Because if we quit, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. And that's the thing, because we've all failed. We've all 100,000,000% failed. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't. Like, my failures is what made me successful, right? Because I just didn't quit.
Well, you know, you're bringing up my realm now. So we'll jump in on that one. Mindset. A lot of people think that mindset is everything, but mindset actually just impacts everything. It isn't everything, but it does have these ramifications. And I'm just curious. Obviously, you have a great mindset. Entrepreneurs have a very specific mindset, or else you can't be an entrepreneur. What would you say has maybe been some of the key shifts that you've had to make mentally or emotionally to be able to navigate growing businesses? In fact, I want to bring up something from our conversation, which I know about you, is that you've been one of the top fastest growing companies in Florida for X amount of years. I can't remember the specific amount you said, but I remember you telling me, like, it has been a crazy ride to do that, right? Like, what does it really take to be mentally, emotionally strong, to go through that, to be able to have that strength? Like, what are some skills that you think people should develop if they want to achieve at a high level?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll reiterate kind of what you just said. In 2021, I became the 6th fastest growing company in Tampa Bay. I was awarded by the Tampa Bay Business Journal, the 6th fastest growing company. We grew over 355% in 1 year. So just to give you a snapshot, I was 1,900 square feet, 4 employees, 7 to 10 calls a day. Ended up changing, went to 200 to 300 calls a day every single day. Went from 4 employees to 38. Went from 1,900 square feet to 65,000, occupying 65,000 square feet. And all of this was done in actually like almost 90 days, right? And the award is for the year, but I did it in under 90 days. And the things that happened, people say, congratulations, you became the 6th fastest growing company in Tampa Bay, Florida. Like, that's unbelievable. But what it is you can't grow that fast. Like, it's like you can't train people correctly. You can't implement policies, procedures, manuals. So you're just overcoming all these things, right? And you're just trying to be honest with you, you're trying to survive, right? You're all these things are coming at you and you're just trying to survive. And then you feel like it's COVID, 2021 was COVID, and you're in this lonely place, right? Because nobody can understand what you're going through. And the country's basically shut down. Florida was a little bit different, but people aren't going out and like, you're not communicating with other CEOs and other entrepreneurs that know what you're doing. So you have to get this mindset, right? That I had a mindset that I was so happy that we were growing because I was helping other people, right? I was providing for other people to get what they want in this world. And I think what matters in this world is like who you affect while you're here, right? What are we leaving? What is the legacy that we're leaving, and how are we affecting other people? Because at the end of the day, it's what you leave behind and who you affect that truly matters, right? I just started my day by knowing that I wasn't going to quit. I just did a hack that I've done for a very long time, and I still do, is I get up in the morning, and the first thing I do, I'm up before anybody else, and the first thing I do is I go on to YouTube and I put in something motivational, right? Matthew McConaughey, Denzel Washington, anything motivational. And the first thing I do is listen to it. It could be just for 5 minutes, but I know, like, no matter what, my day's going to be successful, right? It's going to be successful. Like, I'm in that mindset. Now, the other thing that it does is it doesn't just put me in that mindset, right? The thing that I realized what it does is as soon as I interact with somebody else, and it doesn't matter who it is, right? I'm putting them in that mindset because I'm already in that mindset. So the next person, I'm saying, hey, how's it going today? Like, great, right? Because I'm already in that mindset to crush the day, and people feed off of other people. So that's the thing that I just want to like say, right? Is like, if everybody would wake up in the morning and do something like that, right? And get into that mindset that you're just not gonna, it's just not gonna be a day, right? Like, you're just not trying to get to the next day. Like, you realize that the sun comes up and then it goes down, but you're going to accomplish something that day. Like, you're going to make a difference that day. And that's the number one thing I could feed to anybody. And then the other thing that I would absolutely say is just understand this, and always understand it. And this is for anybody and everybody out there. Every single day you're waking up, and pretend like you're in a ring with Mike Tyson, right? And when you're in that ring, sometimes you're able to dance around and he's not even getting a lick on you. Like, you're just Speedy Gonzalez, right? And you make it through the day, and that's great, right? Sometimes he's getting some good licks on you. Sometimes he's actually knocking you down, right? He's really knocking you down, but he didn't knock you out. You're not dead, right? So you can live to see another day. So that is life, right? The life is change. Every single day, something is happening. Like, one day there's no tariffs. The next day there's all these tariffs and things are shut down, right? And it's change. But you got to adapt to change. You got to adapt to, people are here today, they may be gone tomorrow. Things are happening. Things are always going to change. Make sure that you understand that being comfortable is truly being uncomfortable all the time. And if you can do those things, right, and you can understand that you're in a ring every single day, and it doesn't even matter what day it is, because you don't know. It could be a Sunday. It could be the day that you're off, but something happens, right? And then all of a sudden you're dancing. You're really dancing, and you're just not wanting to get hit that day, because bad things can happen any single day, right? And that is how you truly get to the next level, right? Is just knowing that no matter what happens, you're not dead, right? You're not dead. You may have got really hit. You may even have some wounds, right, from him knocking you, but you're still here, right? So I think that, man, I think that's the best way I could put it.
I wanna double down on what Roy is saying, because I'm also a God-fearing man, and getting it back down to the basics. I think the motivation is great. I love the Mike Tyson visionary here, although I just saw Mike Tyson fight, the young Jake Paul. So I'm envisioning the younger Mike Tyson, when he's at his prime, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in a ring with him. But I love the analogy, painted very well too. This is the difference, though, And this is why we have people like Roy on the show. This is why it's called the 1%, because 99% of you guys won't do this. You won't take this type of advice because you just won't, because life's easier maybe. But this is what it takes to become that 1%. If shit changes, learn to adapt. Look how we started this podcast. He's training and teaching AI and I'm very excited. I see the vigor that's even coming out of Roy of doing this. Instead of, saying, oh no, AI is coming, it's going to be bad and it's going to take over this and it's going to cause chaos in this. He's adapting. He's evolving. He's getting into the ring with Mike Tyson. This is what you have to do, or you don't. But if you don't, then stop bitching and complaining. I don't want to hear it anymore. All right?
Yeah. And I mean, I'll say this, right? How did I come to this? And it's just a easy, quick story, right? Is last year, it was like February, and I was invited to go hear a guy speak about AI. So I went, and I'm just being straightforward with you. Like, half the stuff he was saying on stage, I understood. Half of it I didn't understand. I didn't even understand it, right? So I went up to him afterwards, and I just looked him in the eye, said hello. I introduced myself, and I said, listen, how's this going to affect my life? How's it going to affect my businesses? Because I own multiple businesses. How's it going to affect my industry? What do I need to know? How do I need to know it? And by the way, just so you know, I'm kind of a big guy. Like, I work out every single day. So if you don't tell me, I'm going to duct tape you to a chair and I'm going to suck it out of your brain. Right. And he starts laughing, of course. And then he tells me, he's like, Roy, this is the things. These are some of the things. And one is called the Neuron. It's a newsletter that comes every single day. He said, subscribe to that and read it every single day. Right. And then he said, there's a website called producthunt.com. He goes, go to that every single day. And, I'm the kind of guy that if I know something's going to change the world, right? Just like 3D printing, additive manufacturing, that's what I'm in. That's what I knew was going to change the world. Now I know definitely artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, all these things are changing the world. My whole thing was, give me just a little bit of what I need to learn, which he did. So then I started getting up early before anybody else, and I started studying it every single day. So they say, when I punch it in on AI, like ChatGPT, how do you become an SME in AI? They said, study it for a year. Well, I've been studying it over a year because it's May now, and I spend 2 hours a day every single day from 4:30 in the morning till 6:30 learning it, right? And understanding it and reading about it, like audibles and talking to people and going on to YouTube. And that's the thing. Like, I do mentorship. There was this young gentleman that came in one time and he said, my parents hate what I do. I dropped out of school and I do detailing. He does detailing, right? And he's like, I'm not making enough money. They think I need to go back to school. But he goes, I love what I do every single day. And that was the key. He said he loved what he did. So I said, if you love what you do, that is the number one thing. He loves what he did. Like, it was like this amazing thing that came out of his mouth because I could see it, right? He loves what he does. So I told him, no, you're just making a mistake. He goes, well, what mistake am I making? I'm saying, you're not studying detailing enough, right? Get up early, find the best detailers in the world and start seeing what they're doing. And then the other thing that you got to remember is, if you're detailing a car and it doesn't have tint, what if you learn how to do tint? Then you could knock on you can tell them, hey, listen, I could put tint. Hey, after that, I could sell you wheels. I could sell you tires. I could put the coating, the ceramic coating on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, right, he starts breaking through. He starts listening, right? He starts understanding. And I said, there's people out there. You're not recreating the wheel. Detailing's been around for a long time, but there's smarter people. Right. And there's truly successful people in this world doing it that are making a lot of money. Right. So let's mimic them. Right. And then all of a sudden he started doing this. He started studying. He started gaining certificates. He learned how to do tint, learned how to do ceramic coating. Next thing you know, now he's got multiple units, people that are working for him, going out and making him money. Right. And he's paying them. And all of a sudden he's successful. And then his parents are looking at it like, this my kid is successful, and they wanted him to quit and go back to school. Like, it's not about that, but he loved what he did. That's the key. Is I think the number one thing you said, Shane, is how do you go to the next level? You got to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, then the life is short. Figure out what you love and do it. And then it's not a job. Like, you're just going to put your time, effort, and energy into it because you love it. Right. And I've always been lucky enough to find something that I love to do. And that it's not a job. Right.
I love that, man. I mean, that's the old saying, right? If you do something you love every day, then you never work a day in your life, right? I ultimately feel like what you're describing too is somebody who not only just loves what they're doing, but somebody that finally feels that what they're doing is for a greater cause. You know, I find that most people have trouble to actually enjoy what they're doing or really make it far or become successful just because of the fact that it's so self-absorbed. It's like, well, I'm just doing this for me. And you inspired him in a way, as it sounds like, of not only does he want to do it for himself, but maybe you don't even realize he probably also wants to do it for you to a degree, right? Like, there's that subconscious belief in there of like, wow, Roy really has poured into me. Like, how do I not take this and run with it? And so I love what you're doing as a mentor, man. It's really important. People need direction. They need mentorship. So, dude, keep doing you. You've been given a lot of really phenomenal knowledge throughout this podcast, and I got a few final questions for you. I want to make sure that that I get to hear these from you. So, Roy, the name of our podcast is the 1%, not because of the fact that, you know, we're billionaires yet. We'll all be there. But in the meanwhile, the real question of what it is to be a 1%er is, how are you achieving and excelling greatly in a specific area, right? Kind of like what you just described. How do you go into that deepest category to be the best at what it is that you're doing? And what we'd love to know from you is, what is your version of a 1% life?
Yeah, my version of a 1% life is knowing that I made a difference in people's lives. Now, it has come over time. It wasn't my true ambition. Of course, like, money can be your true ambition at some point in times. But I think what we're talking about here, just like you said, if I can make a difference in people's lives, right, that is what matters, right? Like, leave the world a better place. Find real people that are real, right? That are genuine. That's another big thing, right? And help people along the way. Like, I graduated high school with a 4th grade reading level. I never went to college, right? I ended up becoming successful. I need people to understand that you can be anything you want to be in this life. It really comes down to the time, effort, consideration, grit, resilience, determination, mentorship, all of these things. But everybody has the ability to do it. And I think the more we say that, and the more we can get that through to people, right? And you can't, but it's just like you said, that one person that you're changing their life, right? Then I've done it, right? And the more we can do that, I think that's me. That's that 1%er, because I was able to do it. I know I'm a 1%er. I don't have to prove it. I don't have to do any, like, I know I am, right? I know within inside myself. But I want to truly make sure that anybody's listening to this, that they can be also, right? It's just a matter. That's my most important thing that I think I could leave is be different, inspire, grow. Know that it doesn't need to be a certain day. It doesn't need to be a certain time. Just put it in your head and do it, right? Just put it in your head and do it.
Roy truly is a 1%er. He, you know, when I met him at the event I met him at, he brought every speaker a set of gifts with their names or quotes that they've had, or just something that they really, really stand on as like a vision or value. And he found this way to basically get every speaker to go to him, which is just the smartest thing that you could do. So for all of you guys that are listening to Roy, just know he's not just talking. He's 100% doing the things he said. In fact, he sent me a video. That's how I connected with him. I shot him a text. I was like, Roy, great meeting you. Would love to connect. And then I don't hear from him for hours. But I tell you what, as soon as he did text me back, it was this great video filled with enthusiasm, and it was Vin. I was like, holy shit, man, yeah, this guy's great. And so he really is a 1%er in the way he approaches life. You guys got to listen to him, because he's not just some guy that's talking. He's actually doing it. And sometimes that's rare, but not in this case. So Roy, tell me this. I'm sure you've received a lot, because I know you're very aggressive when you when you want information. So the next question I got for you is, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received, and what can you pass on to our listeners?
Yeah, the best piece of advice that I could say is, if you're down and out, know it can all change, right? If you're at the bottom, know that you can get on top, right? And to surround yourself with good, authentic, real people that are genuine, that if you know you're around the right person when you're succeeding and they're thriving you on, right? They're giving you, like, it doesn't matter. They care truly about you becoming successful and becoming more, and it's not about them, right? It truly comes down to that. Gravitate to people that are good, solid people, right? And that are those types of real, and latch on to them and let them be your cheerleaders, right? And know that you can become more. And no matter what happens, like you said, we said it, you're dancing around. Sometimes you're going to get hit, but you ain't dead. You ain't dead, right? If you're listening to this, you're not dead. And know that, that you can make it, and you really can.
Can I add one more piece to that?
Yeah.
I think finding genuine people that want you to succeed in this day and age is really, really tough. Finding an established community is really tough. And this is why you hire coaches like Roy, like Vin, to get you to the place to where you want to go, to be in your corner, to cheer you on, to root for you. So if you don't have that, you need to seek it professionally and internally, personally. I agree with, your story and Vin's piggyback towards it as well. I'd want to show my business coach, look what I did. It's almost like, you told me to get to this level. Let's try and reconnect.
Yeah. I paused for you, and then him and I had a little dialogue. Just run it back.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did it cut out? Sorry. What do you want me to re-say?
It cut out kind of right around the moment that you were saying, like, you gotta get somebody in your corner, reach out, and then it just kind of went.
That's what. Yeah, kind of start that whole thing over again. Sorry, brother.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I wanted to just add one more thing as well. If it's really tough to find a community, to find established, genuine people that actually root for you compared to the jealousy syndrome or who don't want you to succeed, this is why I hire, and you need to hire, coaches professionally, personally, to root you on, to cheer you on. So it's not only that they want to see you succeed, is you want to do an amazing job for them as well. They're truly care, and they're in your corner. So just wanted to reiterate that as well.
Hell yeah. Everybody should have somebody in their life. As one of my old mentors always said to me, relationships are rocket ships. And what's really cool is you could always build upon things, right? So my mentor said that, and then I like to add in that they'll take you everywhere that you want to go. So that's what relationships do.
Amen.
So, Roy, last question for you, my man, and hopefully the question on everybody's mind. How can people get in touch with you? How could they contact you? How could they get involved in what you're doing and be more in your ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% follow me on social media. But RoyKirchner.com is kind of like my personal brand site, just to contact me, rebuilding it. But next time you see you're constantly, a website is never what you want it to be. So you're always making it better, right? And again, same thing in life, bigger, stronger, better. So, but yeah, they can reach me on social media. They can reach me on my website. Any way, that way would be great. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Well, there you have it, folks. You got to reach out to Roy. Roy, stick around for a minute after the show. I got something else to talk to you about. And as you guys know, please go like, share, comment, subscribe, and let us know what you thought of the episode. And if you need anything, we're always here for you. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin, and
I'm Shane.
that was Roy. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.